Balloon 8-2 Landing and Recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue our exploration into the intricate world of balloon aviation, let us now turn our attention to the invaluable practice approaches that every pilot, regardless of experience level, should periodically engage in. Approaching from a higher altitude with a brisk descent rate to achieve a soft landing is a maneuver worth practicing. This technique proves especially beneficial when navigating over obstacles, and the maneuvering to the selected landing field is only possible from a higher than desired altitude. It is essential to conduct such practices in uninhabited areas, utilizing simulated obstacles to enhance proficiency. Another valuable maneuver to hone is the drop-in landing or steep approach. Mastering this skill allows a pilot to gracefully descend into that ideal field nestled beyond the trees or just on the other side of an orchard. The ability to make swift yet gentle descents between crops showcases considerate piloting, avoiding disturbance to animals or neighbors during the approach. Predicting the balloon's track during the landing approach, touching down precisely on the intended target, and halting the basket at the preferred spot is a deeply satisfying skill.
It demands a keen eye trained to spot ground indicators of wind direction, such as dropping bits of tissue, observing other balloons, and noting environmental cues like smoke, steam, dust, and tree movement. Power lines, a critical consideration, demand vigilant observation during the approach.
In the realm of ballooning, the art of practicing approaches is perhaps more frequent than practicing landings. A well-executed approach often sets the stage for a successful landing. Transitioning to another aspect of balloon flight, let's discuss thermal flight. Encountering thermals is a phenomenon that can occur at any altitude but is more common during the landing phase due to the balloon's proximity to the ground. Indicators of thermal conditions, such as dust devils or small tornadoes visible from the ground, may be apparent. Pilots may experience uncommanded ascents or significant changes in direction, possibly leading to the creation of small horizontal circles in the sky. Two fundamental rules govern thermal flight. First, the pilot must remain focused on flying the balloon, avoiding distraction by the thermal experience. It is imperative to ensure that the balloon's envelope temperature remains at or above the level required for normal flight. Venting to descend should be approached with caution, as falling out of the thermal without sufficient altitude may compromise control. The second rule emphasizes the significance of altitude. Indeed, altitude is your friend in thermal flight. As thermals are typically short-lived, maintaining the balloon at flight temperature often results in the thermal releasing the balloon at a higher altitude. This allows the pilot to regain control, ensuring a safe landing can be executed. Here is the visual insight into the anatomy of a thermal, a fascinating phenomenon created by the uneven heating of the Earth's surface by solar radiation. As the sun warms the ground, it, in turn, warms the air above, creating a cycle of rising and cooling air. The prudent pilot, equipped with an understanding of this thermal dance, navigates with caution, waiting for the thermal column to dissipate, ensuring a secure and controlled descent. Now, let us delve into the crucial considerations and procedures associated with landings in the realm of ballooning. When selecting a landing site, three paramount considerations, in order of importance, demand the pilot's attention: the safety of passengers, persons, and property on the ground, maintaining positive landowner relations, and ensuring ease of recovery. In evaluating a potential landing site, the pilot must pose critical questions. Is the site safe for both passengers and the balloon? Could the landing pose a hazard to individuals or property on the ground? Will the presence of the balloon cause any disturbances for the landowner, such as noise or startling animals? In instances where a high wind landing is anticipated, it is imperative for the pilot to forewarn passengers, emphasizing the importance of being vigilant and adopting the correct posture and procedures. This proactive approach allows passengers to be adequately prepared rather than caught off guard. Specific instructions may include wearing gloves and helmets if available or required. Some pilots, equipped with dual burner systems, may opt to keep one burner operational during landing, considering the potential need for heat to navigate out of a challenging approach. However, caution must be exercised, as inadvertent burner activation during a rough landing can damage the balloon fabric.
During a high wind landing, the pilot should fly at the lowest safe altitude to a spacious field, ensuring the deflation line is clear.
The approach should ideally target the near end of the field, and when committed to the landing, passengers should be briefed once again. Subsequent steps involve turning off fuel valves, draining fuel lines, turning off pilot lights, and carefully monitoring passengers as the envelope is deflated.
Attention must be given to controlling ground travel by deploying the deflation vent at the appropriate time, all while ensuring passengers maintain proper positioning in the basket.
In scenarios where water landings are inevitable, modifications to passenger briefings are imperative. In the event of a water landing, passengers should be instructed to clear the basket promptly in case of inversion due to fuel tank placement. Emphasizing the importance of holding onto the basket, passengers should be made aware that the basket can function as a flotation device. However, predicting the final disposition of the basket in water is challenging. If the envelope is deflated, it may sink, being heavier than water. Fuel tanks, being lighter, float even when full. The outcome may vary if the envelope retains air, potentially allowing the basket to rest on its side for a duration. As we transition to passenger briefings and management, the pilot plays a pivotal role in ensuring passengers are well informed and prepared for landing. Correct posture and procedures should be explained to passengers, covering the possibility of both gentle, stand-up landings and firmer impacts. Passengers should be guided to stand in the appropriate area of the basket, facing the direction of travel, with feet and knees together and knees bent. The directive to hold on tight in specified locations within the basket is crucial for passenger safety. Additionally, passengers must be reminded to stay in the basket until individually instructed to exit. During a high wind landing, passengers may be advised to stand in the front of the basket to minimize potential risks in case of surface contact and tipping over. Facing the direction of travel is essential to ensure a proper impact, while maintaining flexibility with feet and knees together and knees bent serves as a shock-absorbing stance. The often neglected instruction to hold on tight is a critical reminder for passengers to brace themselves for potential shocks during the landing. Monitoring passengers is essential, as their actions and reactions can influence the safety of the landing. Pilots must give clear instructions like feet together, front, back of the basket, knees bent, and hold on tight. Some balloon companies provide written agreements, reinforcing landing procedures and passengers' acknowledgement before the ride. Pilots, setting an example by assuming the correct landing position, contribute significantly to passengers' compliance with safety measures. Recovery, particularly in the context of landowner relations, holds significant importance in ballooning. Poor relations with landowners pose a notable threat to the growth of ballooning. Balloonists must prioritize creating and maintaining positive relationships with landowners whose properties they traverse. It's crucial to recognize that, at most landing sites, balloonists are unexpected visitors, and their presence may not be perceived as the gift they intend it to be. Balloon pilots should develop skills to allow for the broadest possible selection of landing sites and ensure that their crews are trained to respect the land, adhere to traffic laws, and maintain politeness in all interactions. Always securing permission for the balloon to land in the chase vehicle to enter private property is paramount. Understanding trespass laws in the local area is essential. Pilots and crews should be aware of potential liabilities associated with trespassing, such as cutting or knocking down fences. Clear communication and cooperation with landowners can mitigate many potential issues. In cases where law enforcement officials are involved, maintaining a polite and cooperative demeanor is advised. The Balloon Federation of America, BFA, and the British Balloon and Airship Club, BBAC, offer valuable resources on landowner relations issues. The BBAC's website includes an informative video addressing landowner relations in the United Kingdom, which, despite its specific focus, provides valuable insights for pilots and crews worldwide. Moving on to the post-flight procedures, once the crew has obtained necessary landowner clearance, the process of packing the balloon commences. Deflating the balloon involves securing the crown line, turning off burners and venting the fuel system, and activating the vent line. The crew assists in the deflation process, and once the envelope is on its side, it is ready to be walked out or squeezed to remove remaining air. Care must be taken during this process to avoid injury, and mechanical devices are available to aid in the squeezing process. The envelope is then packed into its bag, with considerations such as the orientation of the bag's flap based on launch site conditions. Crew members assist in lifting and placing sections of the balloon into the bag until the envelope is almost completely packed. The suspension system is removed, secured, and placed in the envelope bag. The bag is closed and loaded onto the chase vehicle. Post-packing actions involve securing the envelope onto the chase vehicle, disassembling and securing the basket and burners, and conducting a final check of the landing site to ensure no loose items are left behind. A final courtesy check with the landowner is typically appropriate, concluding the flight as one for the books. The diligence and courtesy exhibited during recovery contribute to fostering positive relationships with landowners and promoting the overall growth of ballooning.